Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Parent Path Podcast, a parenting podcast designed for the parents of X Church and beyond. I am your host. My name is Jesse. I have the great joy and privilege of being our next gen pastor at X Church, but also, more importantly, for the conversations that we have on this podcast, I'm also a husband to my wife, Sarah. We are coming up on our 10-year anniversary here later on this year. And we have two wonderful kids. We've got two boys, Milo and Cooper, that are 7 and 4 years old. And I feel like I say this every single month on this podcast, but being a father, being a dad, is just one of my favorite things that I get to be. And it's also one of the most challenging things that I've ever done in my life. It's one of those things that you care so much about, and you care so much about getting it right. And yet at the same time, if you're anything like me, I'm very aware of all the ways I get parenting wrong. And so I'm grateful for a space like this where we can chat about how we can become better parents, and not just become better parents, but I want to become more effective and more efficient at discipling my kids. And so the goal of this podcast is to kind of live right in that intersection between faith and parenting. And today, we are going to talk about what I believe to be the closest thing to a parenting hack or a parenting discipleship hack that you can find. And it is very available to you, and you may not be aware of the impact that it can have, because when I learned this a few years ago, I was shocked. Moms and dads, or anybody that has stepped into the role of a parent in a child's life, one of the most impactful and effective methods of discipleship and just raising your kids in a positive way. In other words, something that is been research-backed, proven to have positive impacts in the life of a child is so simple. And I'll tell you what it is. It is regular family dinners around a table. It really is that simple. I'm going to talk you through some of the benefits of this, but just get that all in your mind, that maybe the most impactful thing that we can do to raise our kids well, and to disciple them and to create some positive momentum for their future, is to simply just eat dinner together on a regular basis around a table. Why does that matter so much? Well, research has shown us that there are really 5 major things that result from having regular family dinners together, and I'm going to show this to you. So benefit number 1, this has been proven in research time and time again over the last several years and decade or more, that the first benefit is kids will experience better mental health and emotional well-being. This says adolescents who have frequent family meals have shown lower rates of depression, fewer emotional difficulties, and a better overall well-being, even after adjusting for things like parental monitoring or family connectedness. So simply just having dinner together regularly as a family can significantly improve the mental health of adolescents. And it's been shown, it wasn't this study, but in others, it'll show that when kids have consistent family dinners when they're younger, let's say in the 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old range, that actually shows the likelihood of having better emotional health when they get to ages like 12, 13, 14, 15. And so the parenting we're doing now in our kids can have an effect on the future teenager they're going to become someday. So that's benefit number 1. Benefit number 2, lower risk-taking behaviors when it comes to substance abuse and early sexual activity. It says kids who often eat with family are less likely to use tobacco, alcohol, or marijuana. They're less likely to engage in risky sexual behavior. Again, simply from regularly having dinner together. That's so crazy. This is why I say this is like a hack. All of these things that we want for our kids, and we can help our kids make wise choices and have good outcomes in these areas simply by just having a meal together. Number 3, better academic performance, social skills, and vocabulary. Children who share family meals tend to do better in school. They get higher grades, better test scores, Also, preschoolers will show more vocabulary growth and better reading readiness. Again, another thing we all want for our kids. Number 4, better nutrition, health, and lower obesity risk. Kids in families that eat together tend to eat more fruits and vegetables and whole grain things, eat less fast food, fewer sugary drinks, and they also have an association with lower rates of being overweight or obese and better diet quality. Again, another thing that we want for our kids. And then number 5, potentially maybe the most significant of all of them is it will improve their resilience, self-esteem, and sense of identity and belonging. It says family meals help strengthen family connectedness. Kids feel more supported, they have better self-esteem, more resilience to mental strain, better ability to cope with stressors. And a lot of these studies found that when family meals happen at least once a week, that's pretty doable. You can start to see an impact in all 5 of these things. But they say for best results, that goal should be up near 5 times a week. And depending on the season of life you're in with your kids, whatever sports season it is, whether school's in session, can affect how possible that feels. And I think I'll talk about my family. When we first got married, I have a bad habit. I still have this habit. I like to eat meals in front of the TV on the couch. My wife actually jokes with me that I'll make food, cook something, grab something at through a drive-through, come home, and I'll let it get cold if I'm taking too long to find something to eat because I want to start whatever video that I'm going to watch, and then I will eat. When we had kids, that pattern just kind of continued on, not intentionally, but it was kind of one day my wife and I had the realization of, we eat in front of the TV all the time. And we're still eating together, but we're not really talking, we're not really engaging, and we're not really setting the kind of example that we want for our kids. So it was a couple of years ago, especially after I first learned some of these statistics and these studies, that we made the transition from eating at the couch, all looking at the TV, to eating around the table. And as you can imagine, my young kids that, of course, love to watch their shows, they were not super thrilled about eating around a table and now staring at mom and dad's face instead of, the fun TV show we used to watch. And so it was a struggle that we had to fight for a while. And I think there are a lot of families that feel this tension between wanting to have the family dinner, wanting to gather everybody around the table and having the picture in your mind of what that could look like, but then the reality of actually getting to it consistently feels almost impossible. And so my goal today is to, one, remind all of us that the hack we have available to us is to have dinner with our family around the table consistently. But number 2 is to remind us all that it is worth fighting for. It is worth moving schedules and fighting for this because of the benefit it has for our children. And so with the rest of our time, I'm going to kind of give two tips here. One, if right now you do not have a rhythm of eating regularly around the table, hopefully give you some encouragement on how to start making that happen. And then number 2, on the flip side of that, if you are currently eating dinner regularly as a family, I'd love to maybe give you some inspiration on how you can spice up the conversations you're having, bring some new life to it, bring some more intentionality to it. And so let's talk about it. How to practically fight for family dinner. Number 1, start small. Like I said, a lot of this research shows that if you even do this once a week, you're doing pretty good. You're headed the right direction. And so if you're not doing it at all right now, fight for once a week. Put it on the calendar. Make it a non-negotiable appointment. Hey, Friday nights, that's our family dinner night, or Tuesday nights, whatever it is. And maybe for your family, dinners just don't work. This could also work with, let's say, Sunday lunch after church. One of the ways that my family modifies this is Sunday nights, I am always out of the house. We have high school group on Sunday nights at church, and so I end up leaving the house between 4 and 5, depending on the week. And so I'm not home for dinner ever. on Sunday nights. So instead of having dinner Sunday nights, we always have lunch together right after church on Sundays. Again, so maybe there's a night of the week, or there's no night of the week that works well, but maybe you can do a Saturday lunch, or maybe even a Saturday family breakfast. It doesn't necessarily have to be dinner. The goal is to have everyone around the table sharing a meal together for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Get everybody together and everybody talking. Make it simple. It doesn't have to be this whole big feast every time. It could be, a frozen pizza. That counts. It could be ordered pizza. That counts. It could be ramen noodles, whatever it is. Make it simple. And then create some kind of, a routine or a ritual. Or what do you talk about every time you're at the table? For my family, we've done a couple of different ones. We've talked about highs and lows, which is a pretty common one. What's something good from your day? What was something bad from your day? And we don't always have bad things from our day, but we always try to allow space for our kids to share that stuff with us. And often we will find out things at the dinner table that happened in their day that we did not find out about on the ride home from school. There's something about that environment that now that our kids are used to it, it unlocks the memory of their day that just happened that they seem to forget about when they're in the car on the ride home. And so create some kind of regular question. It could be, we've done this thing called Rose, Bud, and Thorn before, which is the rose from your day is just something good, something that made you happy, something that you saw or you got to be a part of that was just a good part of the day. A bud is something you're excited about or something you're hopeful for. And then a thorn is something that wasn't so great from your day. And again, all of that opens up room for conversation. Those are open-ended questions that encourage your kids to engage in the conversation. If you are already doing regular family dinners, I would like to maybe just encourage us on how we can maybe become a little bit more intentional in that, especially as our kids get older and older and older. One of the ways that I have seen parents take advantage of this time together is they will use this as an opportunity where the kids can ask the parent any question that's on their mind. And this can be really fun. It could also go really south depending on, the question that they ask in front of the entire family. But it's something that could be fun. Like, hey, one night you're going to say, hey, the grown-ups are not going to talk, or we're not going to ask any of the questions today. The kids are going to ask all the questions. And so whether that is they're going to go around and they're going to ask you what was the best part of your day or something like that, or they can just ask, you can open it up, any question that pops into your head, any question about, my life when I was a kid or whatever. It could be really fun. And again, what you're doing here is creating a deeper sense of connectedness among your family. You're giving your kids an opportunity for ownership. They feel, a sense of, I'm leading this conversation. And also what you're doing is you are helping them become conversational. You're helping their social skills develop. You're helping teach them, how to engage, how to get to know someone. You're teaching them really good life skills. This is also a chance for you to celebrate your kids in a public way. If one of your kids maybe got a good grade on a test they were worried about, that's a moment in front of the whole family to celebrate and encourage. Hey, you studied really hard for that. You got a B+. That was great. You did really good. You can celebrate a sporting win. The team made it to the playoffs or something like that. It provides a space where you can celebrate them publicly, which also creates a deeper sense of family connectedness. Again, when one person of the family succeeds, we all celebrate. This is also a chance for, I know we don't want to think about this or talk about this, this provides a space where kids can come and they can share things they're upset about, or it's a space to process when bad things happen in life or, amongst the family at large. The dinner table can look a lot like the church. Reminded of the Bible verse. We celebrate with those who celebrate and mourn with those who mourn. That happens at the family dinner table. My last encouragement, because this can happen easily if maybe you don't have this locked into your mind. The dinner table is not the time for lectures or discipline. Again, you want this to be something that your family, that your kids look forward to, that is, a bright spot in their day. And so you can protect that by intentionally, if there's a moment of discipline that needs to happen, or let's say in your talk about their day at school, you find out something that, this needs to be addressed. Maybe save it for later on after dinner, so that kids are not feeling like they're being publicly shamed in front of their siblings or anything like that. Also, this is another great opportunity. Family dinners, whether it's lunch, breakfast, or somewhere in between, a Taco Bell fourth meal late at night. This is a great opportunity to dive into the conversation guides that we give out in XKIDS every week, or that are located on the Parent Resource tab. I mention that every single month on this podcast. But dinners, when your family's all sitting together and you're trying to have a conversation anyway, these are great moments to bust out those conversation guides and start asking them about their faith. Because again, this is a discipleship tool, family dinners. And so this is a great opportunity for all of that to happen. Sorry if you heard that notification go off on my computer. It's all good. We're doing this live. So to wrap up, family dinner is less about the food, more about the connection. It will not look perfect ever. It's not going to look like a Pinterest, Instagram post. It's not going to look perfect, and that is okay. Consistency beats perfection when it comes to family dinner. And if you haven't started this rhythm yet, pick one night this week and protect it like it's buried treasure. Make it sacred. Make it an unmissable appointment in your calendar. And then, if you're not sure what to talk about, pull up the Parent Resource tab in the XChurch app and just start asking some questions about what they are learning in XKIDS, or ask them to recite their memory verse, or maybe play a little game around the whole table where kids and parents are all trying to memorize the memory verse together, and each week it's a contest to see who can say it first. All kind of fun things you can do to make it fun, to make it exciting. But again, it is worth fighting for, because those benefits of having higher resilience, higher self-esteem, better emotional intelligence, better health choices, better life choices can all start around the dinner table. And as we head into the fall season officially, welcome to October. The second Burr month, September, October, November, December. I want to go ahead and let you know what we're going to talk about over the next couple of episodes for the rest of the year. As we head into November, which is crazy that we're already almost there, November is Thanksgiving. Also, let me know, is November Christmas season, or does Christmas start in December? Does it start after Thanksgiving? Does it start? When does it start? I'd love to hear it. Send me an email. Let me know what you think. But in November, in XKIDS and at the kids' schools, everyone around the table, so to speak, starts talking about Thanksgiving, and they start talking about gratitude. And so next month, we're going to talk about how to cultivate gratitude in our children, to really try to capitalize on this moment when they're going to be hearing about it a lot. This is a time for us as parents to double down on that and really try to hammer that home, to develop some thankfulness and some gratitude in our kids. So that's what we're going to talk about next month. And then in December, we're going to talk about Advent. We're going to talk about the Christmas season, how we can teach kids that it's about more than just the presents that they're going to get. It's about more than just a tree. Well, all of that is so much fun, and I don't mean to discredit or disparage any of that. But again, as parents and as disciplers of our kids, we want to make sure that they understand that when we celebrate Christmas as followers of Jesus, it is about a little more than just the gifts that are underneath the tree. And so we're going to jump into that in December. And so I'm looking forward to both of those conversations, and I hope you are as well. Let me go ahead and give you the rundown of what's happening in October in XKIDS. In Explorers and Heroes, they're jumping into a series called Super Kids. God Can Help Me Be Brave. And here is the summary I have for you. Brave is not the first word most people think of when they think of themselves. But when we think of God, when we think of ourselves, the powerful God who is always with us and can help us be brave, even the most fearful of us can be strong and courageous with God. So basically, we're trying to teach the kids that God is always with you, and if God is always with you, you do not have to be afraid. And so some of the stories we're going to touch on, we're going to talk about Esther, David and Goliath, Gideon, and Abigail. With the bottom line that we're teaching them, this is kind of the sticky, portable statement that we hope the kids walk away with. Ideally, this is what I say, that when your kid answers the question, what was church about today? This is what I hope they say. The bottom line, God can help me be brave. And our memory verse for the Explorers and Heroes of the month of October is Deuteronomy 31:6. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, for the Lord your God goes with you. And then in Legends, we are starting a new series called Wisdom Land. God can help you make the wise choice. The summary of, we may not know the answer to every question or problem, but God does. When we look at God's big story, we can see that we can turn to Him for wisdom whenever we need help. So we're going to be talking about David quite a bit over the next month. We're going to talk about when Samuel anoints David to be the next king, when David writes the Psalms and some of the words that he puts in there. We're going to talk about Solomon when he chooses wisdom, when God asks him what he wants. Basically, he has kind of God kind of tells him, hey, I'll give you anything you want. And Solomon says wisdom. So we're going to kind of teach them about why that was a wise choice and why that benefited Solomon, not only receiving wisdom, but several other things in his life as well. And then we're going to talk about kind of an overview of some of the other kings in the Old Testament, with the memory verse of Proverbs 16:16. It is much better to get wisdom than gold. It is much better to choose understanding than silver. And of course, all of that, plus a little more, plus the Bible study videos, or the Bible story videos that each age group watches, are available to you on the Parent Resource tab in the X Church app. All you've got to do, if you've got the app downloaded, you hit the little cross button at the bottom. The second tab down from the top, right underneath the message notes, is the Parent Resource tab right there. And in there is tons of fun stuff every single month that can help you better disciple your kids, whether that's happening around a dinner table, in the car on the way to or from school, or as you tuck them in at night. As always, I want to remind you of the importance of your work as a parent, because the work you do today to raise your kids is changing the world, not just today, but also for tomorrow, because our kids will one day be the people that are running the show. And so your work as a parent is making the world a better place tomorrow. And so I appreciate you. I'm praying for you. If there is any way I can better support your family, please shoot me an email. I would love to partner with you in your efforts in raising your kids. But hey, remember, fight for family dinners. It's worth it. It's impactful, and it's one of our secret weapons as parents. And so I hope you will employ that sometime this week. I'm praying for you. I love you. I will see you next month.